Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina. If you're back, welcome back. Today we are talking about all things melt. We are doing a face of melt products. If you want to skip to that part of the tutorial, I'll leave the timestamp down below where I actually use the products on camera. But we're going to start out with kind of a brand overview. I'm going to talk about why I love melt products, why they're one of my favorite brands. I'm going to break down all the items that I personally own and if they're worth your money. They're not all created equal, but they're all pretty darn good. And then we're going to talk about their brand new baby, which is their Gemini palette. That is what I used on my eyes today. If you like this green look, definitely stay tuned for the end of the video. Melt Cosmetics seem to really come up in the early days of Instagram where, you know, it was one of those brands that just took off because of social media. And I was super intrigued because I liked that their packaging is, you know, just very sleek and minimal and very modern and a little grungy. It gave me like 90s vibes, which I'm a 90s girl, so I loved that. And they started out with their stacks. And if you're familiar with their stacks, let me show you. They looked like this, and they contained 5 or 4, depending on what stack you bought, matte eyeshadows. They don't only have mattes, by the way, but I think that's really what people were drawn to because they were just like your workhorse shades, matte, and they came in this cool and sleek magnetic packaging where all the shades are stacked together. I loved this concept, like absolutely loved the concept and this just everything. So I waited for a sale. It probably took about, gosh, from the moment I saw them to the moment I purchased, it was probably a good 9 to 10 months. But when they had the sale, I rushed and bought the Rust stack, and then I bought 2 singles because I wanted to try their metallics. I also bought their Harsh Stone White and Amelie, which is this beautiful, like, oh, I don't even know how to, it's almost like a golden peach. Before I get into the shades with you and kind of show you all my stacks that I own, I do not own all of them, by the way, let me kind of mention this cool thing. I loved their stacks because they're, I mean, it's so cool, right? But when I traveled, they would kind of come apart, or sometimes when I was trying to pull them loose, I would nick my finger. Like, I have so many finger nicks on so many of my shadows, like I hate that. But this year, was it this year? I think it was this year. They launched their Pro palette, which is a magnified palette where you can put all your shades in like that. And it's genius, and you can travel with it, and you don't nick them. They are hard to get out, but I don't really need to get them out. I can just use them like that. My favorite stack is definitely the Rust stack, which is right here. It's gonna be these shades right there. So not those. That's the Rust stack. The reason I love it is because it was warm when not everyone was doing warm. They were kind of like the very first to really embrace that like burnt orange and a little bit of like earth tones, and I don't know. I think they were very innovative because at the time there were not 7,000 warm palettes, and there certainly weren't just matte shadows available to everyone. Like all matte palettes, it just was not a thing. Their mattes, if you like Viseart mattes, if you like Natasha Denona mattes, you will love Melt mattes because they are very pigmented, very silky, and they don't look much swatched though, but the beauty about them is that they just blend so effortlessly and they build so effortlessly, and they kind of transition themselves. So you can do 1 or 2 eyeshadow eye looks and they look like you've spent so much time. They build so well upon themselves. They're very, very smooth and buttery, and you don't even need a primer, honestly. I love Melt mattes. Their shimmers, for me, are not the best. And I'm not saying that they don't have, I mean, Amelie, which is that beautiful golden peach that I showed you, that one right there, let's see if it focuses. That one right there is again, I'm horrible at swatches, but that one is perfect. And the shimmer that is in the Gemini, these are probably the best shimmers they've made, to be honest with you. Harsh Stone White, which is from their gunmetal stack, I don't love it. It's very chunky. This is what it looks like right there. And I'll show you. It's just very chunky and not metallic enough. You can use a spray to it, but then it just kind of changes the texture a little bit, and I don't love it. You have to kind of pack it on, and it's not that one I could do without. So I never bought the gunmetal stack because I had that one shade and I was like, oh, if they're all like that, I'm not gonna like it. But I did buy the Dark Matter stack, which is right here, and then the She's in Party stack, which is over here. Now the She's in Party stack, I would say out of the 3 stacks and then the 2 singles that I own, is probably their weakest stack, but not because it's not good. It's just not as buttery and as blendable. And I think that's because the purples in there are, purples are notoriously hard to formulate, and they're just a little more work. You do definitely need a primer, and you definitely need to set your primer with a powder for these to really be able to blend well. They are still gorgeous, and this color right here, which is called Skeleton Kiss, is this like stunning, oh, it's gorgeous. The only shade that kind of muddies up is this one right here from the She's in Party stack. So overall, it's a good stack, but I wouldn't recommend you buying it for full price. I would wait for a sale. Their stacks are either $58 or $48, depending on if they have 5 shades or 4 shades. And then the Dark Matter stack, it's just like the Rust stack. Super gorgeous, same textures, same everything. This cranberry shade right here, I mean, look at that. It is ridiculous. I love them. And they're some of my favorite shadows in my collection. So when I saw that the Gemini stack was launching, of course I had to get it. First of all, it's their first palette, like actual palette, which is amazing. And I know that it's one of the creators. I don't follow her on social media or anything, but it's inspired by her. And her packaging this is like the unicarton, and it's very personal and very personalized. And she is just stunning, by the way, like way cooler than me and super stunning. And the packaging of the palette is amazing. It is very long, very skinny. The pan sizes are giant. These are bigger than like your Naked palettes or anything like that. I don't have anything next to me to compare it to, but trust me, they are oversized. I've used this twice, the second time being in this video, which you can go watch, and I love them. I've been seeing reviews that they're not as good as their stacks, and I have not seen a difference, to be honest with you. Like these shades right here, all these warm shades, they work exactly like their Rust stack. I mean, I would think that these are exactly the same. I don't see a difference. They feel the same, they blend the same, they look the same, and they build the same. So the only shade I haven't used is this one right here, this dark black. I created a very neutral look over here, and then today I used all these right here and some of these. So I am completely in love with this palette. I think it's worth every penny. I think it's the same formula, at least for me, and actually I think the shimmers are greatly improved. So I don't see why there would be mixed reviews on it, because it's beautiful. This palette does retail for $58, and it is limited edition, and so I do think that sucks. For something as beautiful and as good as it is, I think it should be permanent. Like I always tell you, swatches do not tell the whole story. I know some of you think that the reason I don't do swatches is because I'm lazy. I mean, a little bit. Sure, I'm a little lazy, but it's not that. It's just that swatches are very deceiving. Some of my favorite eyeshadows swatch horribly and then work really well on the eye. So there they are swatched. And the only one that gave me a little bit of trouble was that first green that you see. I had to go in with that one twice. but on the eye, it blended and applied beautifully. That black is black as night, and that is only one swipe. I highly recommend this palette. I think it's gorgeous. If you can get your hands on it, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think if you've never tried melt shadows, this is a great way to start. Because it comes with 10 shades, I think the $58 price is well worth it. And I mean, have you ever seen a palette with this many greens? Like, I've been dying and begging for a green palette for so long. I'm just happy that they did something different and edgy. Their surprise hit for me are their liners. They come in a cute little pouch like this. They're $43 for 4. And you can get them in the Necessary Nudes, which is their lip liners. That one is French Kiss, which is the one I'm wearing right now. That one is Foxy. That one is Love Note. And that one is Modest. They're extremely creamy, long wearing. I've been really enjoying wearing Modest all over the lip as a nude and then putting like a lip gloss in the center. It's gorgeous. Worth the money, yes. And I'm not a lip liner kind of person, but I love these. They're eyeliners also for 4 for $43. They come in a pouch just like this with the little Melt logo on the zipper, and the pouch is black. I cannot find mine right now. But they come with 4 essential colors. And the reason I love these is because you get a black, which is 1987. You get a brown, a reddish brown, and then more like a metallic brown. So you've got all your kind of neutral liners that you would ever need, especially for someone like me with brown eyes. You will love these. They have some time to work with, so when you put them on, they're really easy to smudge, they're really easy to blend out if that's what you're looking for. Because once they set, they are there to stay, but they do have pretty good playtime. I have some swatches of these on my Instagram page if you want to go check those out. 2 things that I picked up that I am obsessed with. They have some new shimmer blushes called Blush Lights. These are going to be either a shimmer blush or a blush topper, depending on how you want to use it. I'm sure on some people they could even be like a highlight. I have not used any melt highlights, but I'm extremely impressed with this formula. This is one of their matte blushes, which is called Honey Thief, and it's not exactly matte, it's almost a satin. While there is no shimmer or shine to them, they are not flat. They give you like a little bit of movement and a little bit of depth. I've really been enjoying these. I want to get more. These are $22, but I paid, I think, $15 for each one because I waited for a sale. That's, for me, the key to melt in general. Unless it's something like the Gemini palette, which is limited edition, I would wait for a sale. I mean, they're really good. I would pay full price for the Rust Stack, but these are expensive for a blush, in my opinion. So I was for 15 bucks, I'm extremely happy that I picked them up, and I really enjoy them, and they last really well on the cheeks. They last me all day. I really enjoy them. The other 2 items that I own from them and really enjoy are their matte lipsticks. I've never tried their ultra matte just because I just know that they'll be too dry for me, but these are the matte shades. I'm wearing Mum on the lips, which is kind of like a burnt orange, and I also have On The Go. These are them right here. So that one is Mum and that one is On The Go, which is kind of like a mauve-y neutral shade. And I really like these. If you're familiar with the ABH matte formula, it's a little similar than that, but I think it's a little less dry. I found those just a little bit too dry. These are a little more creamy. They do slightly pull, they're not as smooth. That's gonna be the case with most matte lipsticks in general, but as they warm up on the lips, they really glide on, and then when they're on, they are not drying in the slightest. I find with the ABH ones, after like an hour, my lips feel so dry. I can rub my lips together. They don't get crusty or crumbly, and they layer well on top of each other if you need to reapply. So I'm a very big fan of these. I do want to try their liquid lipsticks because I have not tried those yet. That's it for my Melt overview. I hope that was helpful. I cannot wait to see what else Melt does in the future. I highly recommend this palette. I'm so flippin' happy that I picked it up. Like, I'm so flippin' happy. In a world where everything is just the same, they have a vision to what they do and they stick to it, and they're consistent, and they consistently put out good product. And they are not one of those brands that are putting out something every other month just to make money off of you. They're well thought out designs, well thought out shades, well thought out, you know, packaging, and just everything. They don't do anything half-assed. Just like Hourglass does, everything has been considered. They're not just trying to make a buck, but they're trying to put out there something unique and beautiful and good quality. Stay tuned to see how I got this look so you can see the palette in action. And I've already done my eyebrows and my base, so I'm gonna put my hair back. This isn't a first impressions because I have used the Gemini palette before, but only once, and I haven't dipped into any of the green shades, so I'm very excited about that. I've set my eyelids with a little bit of concealer and some loose powder, so I'm ready. I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush. I'm using the Wayne Goss number 4, and I am just going to, I have a mirror over here. I'm going to go into Luna and Lorelei. I'm going to mix these two and use those as my transition shade. As you guys all know, and I always tell you, that if you have slightly hooded eyes, you should do your makeup with your eyes open and just look ahead and place the color where you want to see it. I used to be guilty of not doing that, and then I'd do all this work. My eye look would look so pretty with my eyes closed, and then I'd open up and you wouldn't see anything. I have a lot of space right here, but no lid space. The only thing I wish this palette had, you know, since I'm paying $58, would be a brow bone shade or, you know, some kind of a highlight situation. But because I own, you know, all these other shades of theirs, I'm not mad at it. I just think if this is your first dip into Melt, you might be disappointed you don't have that. I mean, I think we all have, you know, highlights and matte shades that we can use, but, you know. I'm gonna go in with Mochi. I'm gonna go in with a different brush. I'm gonna go with the Wayne Goss 06, and I'm just gonna go into Mochi. And I think that's where we're gonna start getting some of that green. And I haven't tried the green shades yet, so we'll see how this goes. I like it already. I'm gonna go in with Fire OG, and I'm just gonna place that in my outer corner, my outer V, right there. This is just a Wet n Wild brush. I don't know what it's called. They don't have names on them, which is annoying. But I'm just gonna pack that in my outer V. I love that. It's like a smoky olive tone. Oh, I'm really into that. We're gonna go in with Goals, which is the shimmery green shade right there. Oh, that's pretty. I'm gonna go in with my finger on one eye and a brush on the other. both did quite well. It looks really nice, but I want a little bit more oomph. So I'm gonna do a little setting spray. I'm gonna load up my brush and I'm gonna spray a little. And we're just gonna pat that on. Oh yeah, that's money. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my under eyes and I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with Classic from the Rust Stack, and I'm just gonna put that on my brow bone. By the way, if you guys have been wondering why I look like a zombie and why my bags are so bad that nothing can cover them, it's because my son has completely regressed in his sleep habits at almost 4 years old, which has been really fun. It's really fun. He wakes up like 2-3 times a night, and he had to sleep with me last night, so it's been a good time. I'm gonna do the under eyes, and I'm gonna go in with Luna in that same pencil brush, and I'm just gonna go like that. Then a little bit of Lorelei. I'm not gonna go all the way around with Lorelei. I'm gonna go in a little lower and just keep it on the outer part. And then I'm gonna go in with Polka Dot. I don't wanna bring the green down. Just gonna keep it just on the lid. I'm gonna use their liner in Filth, and I'm just gonna tight line a little bit. I hate when people tight line on camera, so I don't wanna show it to you. I'm gonna also do my waterline. I'm gonna go do my lashes, and I'll be back in a second. I'm going to slightly bronze and contour using my Cali Contour palette. I'm gonna use their blushes. I'm gonna go in with Melt Honey Thief. Looks like that. So pretty. It's like a nude blush. I'm just gonna use a Wet n Wild blush brush. These are, a little bit goes a long way with these. They're very pigmented, but very smooth. I'm also gonna put a little bit of Nevermore over it, just because I think it's such a pretty blush topper. I don't have any melt highlights. I wish I did. So I'm just gonna use a Becca in Vanilla Quartz, which I love, and this Real Techniques setting brush. I'm just gonna set my face. I'm going to use the Melt Lip Liner in French Kiss. French Kiss, that's so cute. I always kind of line and then do the corners a little bit darker. So then I'm gonna go in with the shade Mum. This is their matte formula. I love these. There we have it. That is Mum. And there you have the finished look. I know this is, more fall vibes than it is summer, but I love it. I love a burnt orange lip anytime I can get it, and a green eye. I hope you liked this video. I hope you liked this look. Leave me any questions that I didn't answer. I know this video is a little bit all over the place, but I tried my best. But I do hope it was helpful, interesting, informative, all those things. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.